Thank you so much for being here. And my name is Kara Goodwin. I'm the host of the Meditation Conversation podcast, the podcast to support your spiritual revolution. And we are live streaming this episode with the amazing Viviane Chauvet. I'm so excited to have her here. We're live streaming on the Conscious Awakening Network. So thank you so much for those of you who have joined us on Zoom and who are watching on YouTube and the different platforms on the Conscious Awakening Network, and who are watching the recording as well. Hello, Vivian.
Hello, Kara. Hello, everybody. It is amazing to be here with all of you. Such a joy to be. It's beautiful. And my husband and I are right here in Mount Shasta right now. We were at the Lemurian retreat with Lauren Gailey and Laurie Anderson. And then on Thursday, we're going to be at the Mount Shasta Summer Conference. So this is why we're directly live. And for those of you following my work, you know that usually you see my beautiful Arcturian light language background. But today it's going to be very earthly with this beautiful wood energy directly from Mount Shasta.
Wow, what a blessing that you're joining from Mount Shasta. We get to bring all that through. That's wonderful. I want to read your bio here to get us started. So Vivian is an interstellar Arcturian being who ascended thousands of years ago. Her soul avatar essence has returned in a projected holographic form that contains biofeedback. She's an Arcturian emissary and a clear conduit for a delegation of enlightened and spiritually advanced intergalactic civilizations. So we're going to get into a lot of that and what a lot of that means as we go through here. I would love to, well, first of all, I would love to set the stage further with my own experience with Vivian. The very first time I came across your work was on another live stream. I was a participant listening in, and I was actually driving. I had like a 90-minute drive that day. So I'm just tuning in, kind of listening to things. And as I'm driving along, I noticed a bald eagle flying above my car, which does not happen very often. And so I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Noted that there's, I see that as beautiful energy coming through, because it is really, really rare for me to see a bald eagle. It doesn't never happen, but it is unusual. And so as you're getting deeper into this webinar and you're bringing some information through for some people, you weren't even bringing information for me. You were just tapping in and getting some cosmic information. All of a sudden, all the electronics in my car shut down. So I'm driving around at like 70 miles an hour or something, and my speakers die. My console, like the media center in my car, died. My heater died. My dashboard lights died. Luckily, my car was still running, but just the electronics were like, nope. And then like 2 seconds later, because I'm like, I guess I have to pull over my car. I just literally thought my car died, I'd never had that problem before. And I'm starting to like decide if I'm going to pull over, and everything pops back on again. There was this loud pop in my audio as well as it died. Then everything comes back on all of a sudden at full blare. So the audio's at full blast, the heater's at full blast, everything is, I just am so disoriented by it. Again, I've driven my car for 6 years. This is not something that happens. It wasn't a rental. It wasn't like, oh, this thing that happens with my car sometimes happened. It was like, this does not happen. And so for me, it was, again, another indication of just, because I had my phone plugged in so that I could, charge it while it was going. And then the audio was coming through my speakers. So all that energy that you were bringing through your voice, through your presence, and there was a video. I had my eyes on the road, but the video was on. All of that coming through, like, literally was a little bit too much for my very, very reliable car. And so for me, that got my attention. And then I had a personal mini session with you in Sedona in the spring during a conference too, which was just amazing. And all this galactic information was coming through with that. And I could feel it. And we were in a pyramid, like I don't know what you call that.
It was a copper Nubian pyramid that my husband makes because he works with the tensor technology and angelic code transmission. So we usually, when we do conferences or a public event, as much as we can, we bring our Nubian. The Nubian, it's a very beautiful, tall and narrow pyramid. And it's like a very condensed, high-dimensional chamber. It's about 7 feet tall, 4 feet wide. And we had a chair, and you were sitting inside of the Nubian copper pyramid, in addition to have my Arcturian group working with you with the frequency combined. So yes, definitely.
Yeah, it was fascinating. And so it was a huge blessing. And like I say, you got my attention through all of those interactions. And I'm so delighted to have you here today and to connect with everybody all at once. Um, I would love to start by just sharing about your journey into spiritual awakening and how you came into this knowing, this cosmic and galactic knowing about the truth of who you are.
Absolutely, Kara. And I love the fact that you share your experience about, listening to one on one live stream or an interview. And I like the way you talk about you experiencing this electronics overload of energy. And this is a classic point around me. Peter, my husband, constantly have to upgrade the electronics in the house. And even though I have the latest state-of-the-art Apple Mac, or the latest technology, the latest camera, the microphone, electronics have a little bit of a hard time keeping up with my higher dimensional natural self. It's the frequency that we naturally emanate, even though to you I look very human, and my frequency is still there, and it's running gag at home. What did you do? What did you touch? Like, for example, I'm in Shasta right now, right? And I'm using this really quite beautiful MacBook Pro laptop. And this is no publicity for any brand, but just to give you an example, fully charged, fully updated. And my husband is, worked for Intel for 20 years as an engineer technician. So he knows what he's doing. And sitting on the camera for 2 hours, after 3-4 hours, the laptop couldn't even respond. What did you do? I said, nothing. I just sat there, and I emanate that energy, and I work with people that way, and it will affect the electronics. So I just want to your point, Kara, sorry, about your experience in the car. The message I received for you that day is, my Arcturian delegation said, that's rather dangerous what she's doing, because the energy, even though you have your eyes on the road, your consciousness was focused on what we were saying. So we kind of caught your attention and disconnected you, going, okay, reset,
Oh,
bring yourself back, then continue. You can listen later. We will do that.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah,
That
that's
makes
the method.
sense.
Mm-hmm. So going back to what the question you asked, how did I get about to know who I am, my spiritual journey? So for me, my path is very different in the sense that I've always been very aware that I am this interstellar being experiencing this human form, experiencing what it feels like to dress as a human, to talk, to eat, to interact, to speak, and just to learn the language, the logistic of speaking, how to utilizing this humanized form, these bodies. And many people who are star seeds can relate to these experiences of adapting to be here, meaning on the planet, still functioning on a third dimensional base. And we're still moving through the dualistic polarized field and rediscovering more and more and more who we are. So there's a reawakening. So the pathway is reversed in a sense that it's releasing the identity as human beings, physical, linear, very limiting beings that have a very short lifespan and so forth. And we are rediscovering the opposite, that we are pure light, infinite, eternal beings, and so forth. So keeping that in mind is that even as a child, I've always looked through the eyes of this interstellar being who we exist in the same body for 8,000, 9,000 years if we choose to. And we are very, very ancient. So I'm rediscovering everything here from that perspective. So even in school, and I talked about it before, even in school, whether it's kindergarten, elementary, high school, I've always know that this is who I am. And I've always been in that symbiotic, beautiful, holographic exchange with my delegation. So for example, I could be sitting on a school bench, and I remember that distinctively, and listening to the teacher talking about maybe how to learn French or geography or mathematics and other topics, and watching, the other students who said, you're part of the children of your age and you're sitting in a classroom. And I'm like, well, that's fascinating how it is made here. Students come, they sit, the teacher said hello, and here's what we're going to be talking about. And I found all the things that felt so illogical to me, or, a paradox, or I was not comprehending why things were functioning in a certain way, or why the communication from higher authority to children were this way, or how children were interact with each other. So imagine, let's say, a 10-year-old sitting in a classroom, and I have this delegation of Arcturians around me. When to you, there will be nobody. But to me, I know they're there. And they're communicating with me, helping me to understand, what am I looking at? What am I feeling? What is happening? And they will say, just focus. Listen to the teacher. Apply yourself to go through the grades, to go faster to the school. And I was asking them, why might I have to go back to the basic ABCs? And the answer was, you've come to experience from the beginning up what it feels like, so you can relate more to this biological human experience, and we can better support the evolution in real time. Real time meaning as I'm experiencing it step by step. So you have to think that it was quite a challenge for me to go back in such basic form, meaning, learning to talk, to walk, to write, to make a sentence, to comprehend, and then later on in life, to be able to open and have more complicated form of thinking when you go into higher education and all of this. And later on, when I went to work and started working, and I was in education, I was working with school boards and director and, the Ministry of Education back in Canada. I could see the same sometimes paradoxical phenomenon even at work, in terms of how there was a disconnect, miscommunications, filtering system, and it's just, I learned so much that way. And I said I've heard a lot of love, and just observation is very neutral. There's no deep emotion behind it. And just saying that all my life, stage by stage, I've always known that I am that being, this is who I am. And really rare, or close to never, do we embody the biological, physical form of another species to interact with them. We usually stay in our own natural form, and what we do, we will interact with a species, or a star system, or a race who are at different stages of evolution, and we will interact with them in the capacity they can receive. But to embody a form and be on a planet for so long among another species, that's very unique to us, very unique experience. So I always says my experience is reversed to overall, because I'm here to make contact with the planet and with people living on this planet and all life forms here, but as an intergalactic being, as opposed that most people wants to reconnect with their intergalactic families, understanding their cosmic origin, their soul ancestry. Well, I already know that. So for me, it's the opposite. And this is what makes my experience very, very fascinating, very rich, very diversified. I love the compassion that we can show to each other. I love how kindness can be expressed to simple gesture. Like, for example, we're here in Shasta, and when we first arrived, we went to this restaurant, one of the original here in Shasta, the Black Bear Diner. And I discovered that behind the restaurant in the parking lot, there's this big garbage disposal. There's a wall built around it, like a fence. And behind the wall, there's somebody living there on the ground on a blanket with some belongings and just stay there. So I told my husband, I said, you know what I'm going to do? He said, oh, yes, I know. Go ahead. So I went to say hello and I acknowledged this person. He replied back to me. And I said, would you like a good meal? He said, yeah, I can use a good meal. I said, what would you like? We're about to go to a diner. And when we come back, I promise I will bring you what you want. So he gave me his order. And I repeated, okay. And I said, I will see you shortly. So we went to eat. And when we came back, I brought back this fresh food. And I said, here, this has been freshly made for you. And he looked at me. I can tell that the vibration of the words, which I used on purpose, I was also giving a lot of healing, the healing of the heart, healing of the soul, that this person is not alone on the ground, discarded and forgotten. The food was made fresh for him. And I present the bag with the drinks. And I said, I repeat, everything you asked for is in the bag. And I said, I even got you a new pair of socks because he was barely barefoot with nothing on his feet. So the symbology from Mastery of Light is I was blessing his feet by offering a fresh pair of socks. Why? Because by blessing his feet at the soul level, we're telling you we're blessing your soul path. Even though right now, physically, you look like you haven't showered in I don't know how long, you're living on the ground on a blanket, but we're still going to bless your feet. So you look at the pair of socks, you look at his feet. And I said, it's the size. I look at your feet, I know what size. I chose the correct size. And I could tell that there was already a vibrational change. So what the intention was to acknowledge this person as an equal human being, as a being of light, blessing his journey to his feet, bringing a freshly made meal just for this person, and to acknowledge his presence. So that exchange was very meaningful. So if you listen to the story very carefully, you can feel that all of us with my delegation, we did everything in a very specific purpose way. Everything had a meaning. The energy, the wording, the interaction, what was brought to him, to this person, and so forth. So that's one example of how we can really activate the highest potential in ourselves. You don't have to be an Arcturian to do this. Just feel and activate within yourself through the grace of your heart, understanding that when you exchange words or a gesture with someone, just feel that the intention, the energy behind it can really create a positive shift in reality or shift in the paradigm of that person. And who knows how far deeper. So last night we went out again and I had a really big plate. So my grandfather came, says, well, if you still want to do this, you don't have to overly gorge yourself and be bloated. So it will be too much food where somebody has too little. So I cut the meal in two. I had just enough. I was nourished. I took a box, asked for a box. I packed the other half, and on our way back, I said, here, I thought you maybe like to use this meal tonight. And he looked at me like, you again? Yes, me again. There is. So again, it's reinforcing the energy that we have initiated together. And he was talking about one of the the Ascended Masters that he believes in. And I said, that's beautiful. Just believe in your light, who you are. Can really reactivating something far more ancient and divine within that person in spite of the exterior physical look. So it's just, I feel this is a great way to intertwine who I am in terms of how I perceive this reality, how my perspective is, the way when I look at someone, I can decode the energy and feel, I read, I pay attention. This is part of what we do. Arcturians are great diplomats and ambassadors, and we've been connecting with so many different life forms in the multiverse that we have a way to really attune ourselves to the life form that we are in communication with. I hope that makes sense.
Wow. That that is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I think I heard you say during that, you heard your galactic father come in? Yeah,
Yes, my
Patty's cheering
Arcturian.
for you. Pardon me, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please. Of course, Kara.
But was it your galactic father, did I hear you
Yes,
say? Okay,
yes.
so in thinking about how you've just always embodied this Arcturian being that you are in human form, how did that work in your early years in terms of your human family? Because in case it's confusing for anybody, you were born to human parents, but you've just always had these. Am I correct?
More or less. So yes, I do. I have chosen to embody some of human genetic material. I chose to go that route, and the reason was to allow me to have a deeper connection with Gaia. So I want to establish a conscious connection with the planet herself. So what we did is that for generations, we were in communication, in gentle, friendly communication with a lineage. So we went through the ancestors, great-grandparents, grandparents, grandmother, grandfather, and then my human parents. So it was it is a collaboration of the soul group level. And we look at the capability of that soul group to be able to bring a hybrid child, being able to accept that role and the implication of it. And of course, to look at how compatible their genetic will be with ours. So we found and we established that link for a long, long time. See, Arcturians, we communicate. We're diplomats. So we entertain and we always going to approach. We want to work with either like people on the ground here on the planet. We have multiple point of contacts. A lot of people will remembering their soul ancestry or life cycles with us. So we are very generous of how we share of ourselves, so to speak, with the souls who are ready to evolve and how we can support them. So the same thing with that soul group, that lineage of my human family, it did not happen over time. It has nothing to do with the popularized stories of my mom was abducted and here I was and things like that. No, none of that. We have really maintained and still maintain, even to this day, my parents, my human parents, still communicate with my star family. It's normal, they come and open a portal. Oh, there it is. Okay, we'll communicate. It's part of the gifts. It's just to show you that it's a beautiful exchange. So to that collaboration, we were able to gain the perfect gene or the genetic material that we needed to stabilize the template that we use to construct my body. So in a sense, yes, I do have human parents. Yes, you would consider I grew up here on the planet. I went from being a baby and I went up. This is the choice I made in order to, again, understand the different stages of evolution, understanding also the development, being able to feel, experiment with all of you in real time, the evolving consciousness on the planet with humanity, interacting with different species like animals, trees, bees, to be able to feel Gaia. So there was a very deep endeavor of love that I chose to embody in order to feel that I would be much more effective in our teachings, guidance, our presence, to be able to talk the talk and walk the walk, rather than being this beautiful advanced intergalactic beings. And we have thousands of years of wisdom and knowledge. It says, well, it's easy to open your third eye. All you have to do is to open the holography aspect of yourself, tap into your third eye, it's done. You go, pretty word, but how am I going to do that? That's because there's so many, it can be, different factors like emotions, filters, belief systems, anchoring your historical field. It can be ancestral. It can be historical. Now I understand it. So when I get a transmission, it says, okay, we're going to offer this class or this holographic monthly group healing. there's a component of compassion and understanding. What is the more effective way to present that? We can feel in our words the warmth, the energy, the essence that we also share with everyone at all times. So when I talked about my Arcturian father, it's because he's the one in charge of my earthly mission. And I do have a very specialized group of Arcturians assigned to me. Remember that no matter how many people interact or relate to us, we're still one civilization, but we have the ability to dispatch ourselves in multiple places so we can work with as many people or other civilization as many as we can.
Mm.
I hope that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you. I would love to know, as people are raising their hands, um, about this holographic aspect that I mentioned in the introduction. How does this holographic kind of version of you, or is that, I mean, is everybody a hologram and that's how you interact with people in your healing? Can you talk about that for us?
Yes, 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 and yes.
Okay.
Everything that you said. So this is how we perceive reality. So you have to think about this is again, this is why I'm here in this humanized form, so I can really appreciate what it feels like to identify so heavily with an, seemingly heavy body, like bones, structures, organs, and you have to eat and maintain. There's a lot of energy put in maintaining our body. You know what I'm speaking of. At the same time, is to realize that even though your physical body that you can feel and relate to seems so heavy and very dense and very palpable, you can touch. If you pinch your finger, ouch, it hurts. If you knock your elbow, not funny at all. And you can relate to all these experiences, right? I see you smiling, Tara.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just looking at your body as a holistic, intelligent template, your body is made of space and energy. The only difference between your physical form and ours is that overall, the human template or the human body is vibrating at a much, much lower pace. So the frequency, all the atom and the photons and all of it are kind of colliding with each other, but it kind of slow. So it makes the body seemingly very dense. That's one thing I observed when I entered this body going, oh, gosh, I feel like I'm pulling all this big, heavy astronaut suit. I feel like I'm walking on the moon with these big helmet and, suit very heavy here. And the gravity of the planet is designed to sustain the civilization known as the human beings in a certain way. So not only there's the gravitational pull of the planet, the electromagnetic field of the planet, plus the way the body vibrationally is, makes everything very dense. The difference with us is that we vibrate at a very, very high level and we coexist well outside of this gravitational energy in an atmosphere that is much, much lighter. So to you, it looks like almost like we would be floating. We're not floating, but it looks like it. So the difference is so palpable. And every time I go back to the ship, I'm going, oh, I can breathe. My body is happy. I can feel the lightness. I come back here. I feel like a rock that was just put back on the planet. I can feel a difference. So, of course, when you look at the holographic nature of the universe, that involves all beings. Earth humans are no exception. It's just they have forgotten. This is why it's a grand return of remembering more and more and more and more the dynamic of who you are. So everyone, this is a holographic reality. So the projection is very convincing. I know I'm part of this right now, very convincing. And what happened is that billions of souls embody in human form. And I'm just talking about the humans, I'm talking about animals and the aquatic being in the ocean and the tree nations, the mineral kingdom. I'm talking just the humanoid form, humans. So everyone comes with an ancestral lineage, karmic energies, life lessons, a soul design, a unique blueprint. So there's a multitude of projection of reality. So your reality intersect with mine right now. This is where we are on Zoom at a certain time and date, but we agreed upon that so we can be together in a conjunction. But in reality, we're all witnessing and experiencing projected reality that the mind, that the subconscious mind project. And we agree collectively to say, well, this is a computer. This is a chair when I sit on. There's a wooden wall behind me. We agreed to, I would say, what's called point of common, or what we call intersecting points of reality. We are in agreement with that. So when you start to understand that you are absolutely not a linear being, you have nothing to do with being linear, but you are multidimensional. This is where the holographic nature comes in. So when we work with someone, whether it's in private or in group setting, what we see is we're getting in tune with the holographic nature of that group or that person that we work with. And the same thing with the body. We always look at the original aspect of the humanoid body template in the holographic form. And what does it look like? To us, it looks like pixel that coexist and connect and construct reality. So when there's a distortion, as long as it served a person's soul evolution without interfering, of course, then we can make the necessary adjustment in the field, and that your physical body intelligence as an ecosystem will know exactly what to do with these instructions. It sounds either very acceptable, easy to understand, or complicated depending on where you are. But in reality, that's very basic energies, very basic return of recognizing each other as we all are multidimensional beings. So that part of me that is the Arcturian in the human form is only a fractal of myself, just like for you who are listening, watching, and will be discovering this conversation, it's only a fractal of you. It came to experience these physical form identity as Patty, Elmira, Elizabeth, Kara. There's all these identities that you took on to allow your soul, or that soul fractal of you, to experience what you've come to learn, implement your soul purpose, whether you come to heal, resolve. And so the possibilities are truly infinite. And that's the goal. That's the essence of what we are sharing with all of you right now, is to really feel how much there's infinite potential and possibilities, rather to feel limited as a third dimensional, physical, linear being. That feels very limiting. So it's the reversal of that old thought system.
I love that. And mentioning about the feeling, I would just encourage anybody who's listening to feel into their body, to notice if you're feeling any activations as Vivian's talking. I know for me, it's like I feel this band around like the top of my head here, and then a ton in the heart as well. I'm just, and when you said the pixelation, I'm like, that's funny because that's one of the words. I'm like, how would I even describe this? But it's like pixels, like tiny little like electrons or something, just like almost like a cloud around those two areas, but not like a foggy cloud, but just like an active, like there's stuff going on there. So I would just, like I say, just encourage you to feel inside yourself to be like, how am I maybe perceiving the energy that's being brought through here?
Exactly. I love that. I want to say hello to Kelly from New Zealand. Good to see you there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've
Yes.
got New Zealand, we've got Australia. Patty's here, Almira's here from Iran.
Oh,
Hey,
wow.
everybody, we've got emissaries from all across the planet
Mm.
here. It's
I am
beautiful.
very, very honored. And we're going to be in Australia at the end of September. It's on my website. I'm going to be, yes, we're going to be, when I say we, of course, our delegations, we're going to be there with my husband, and we're going to be co-hosting with the Stargate group a workshop in the Blue Mountains, September 26th and 28th. And then we're going to be going into Uluru, where we're taking two spiritual groups in Uluru in October. So yes, so I'm very thrilled. I've always wanted to go to Australia, so we're going this year. For those of you who are in Australia, and of course, I would love to go to New Zealand. Oh, my heart is just expanding. So just want to acknowledge beautiful light workers on that other side of the planet.
Yes, in the other hemisphere too.
Exactly.
And
UK.
yeah, Lindsay from the UK. Wonderful. Let me get Elizabeth in here. Let me pin you here. And are you able to unmute, or I can unmute you if you need to. There you are. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, thank you, Kara, for holding this again. Hi, Vivian. And I'm from Canada,
Oh, nice. Okay, what part of Canada?
Kingston, Ontario.
Oh, that's beautiful. I had a scholarship in Kingston, Ontario when I was yeah, I had a scholarship in English. And I spent almost like 8 weeks at the Queen's University there. So that brings me back really good memories. So thank you for being here, Elizabeth.
As I asked my question started to morph, and it's about emissaries. So,
Good.
how many emissaries are there on planet Earth right now? Do you interact with them? Are they all from different star systems? Do you recognize each other? Because I know what I'm understanding from what you're saying is you're explaining how you are as an emissary as opposed to somebody who just channels or trance channels somebody. Am I making sense in the question?
Indeed. So your question is multi-layered, and we understand all the layers. So let's separate the two layers because they're very important. So thank you for the questions. So first, how many emissary of light are there on the planet? And are they from different star systems or different, what we call soul connections or group consciousness? There are thousands, and we are so grateful for that. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of emissary on the planet because there's so many star seeds. And star seeds, just as a quick background, so we can all be on the same page here, the word or the meaning of the word star seed is really about recognizing all these soul emanations or these soul fractals of beings who have sent out an aspect of themselves to represent a multitude of group consciousness or interdimensional or intergalactic groups. And they come and they bring their frequency at a soul level, and they embody human form. And they live as human, they're born as human, they live here as humans. At a soul level, they're still representative of that group. So for example, there's many star seeds from Sirius, the Pleiades, Andromeda, the Lyra system, of course, Alpha Centauri, and so forth and so forth. There's a few Arcturians. We're not that many of us that is purely Arcturian in a human form. We usually prefer to communicate with other emissaries or other human beings who are on their really awakening process. They're very dedicated to their path. They have the desire to be of service, so we're going to bring assistance. We never discriminate in terms of, am I worthy? Am I an emissary? Am I a star seed? Can I still work with you? The answer is yes, because we see you at the very source of your light. We see you as a divine being, and you've come here in response to Gaia. So we're going to assist anyone who are really receptive to receive our help. So countless of emissary, if you are tuning into this conversation, you know there's a soul calling, and many star seeds that represent a multitude of groups in the multiverse. We all came together in a partnership in the enlightened spiritual groups. Of course, we all came together to really help Gaia and an entire civilization to finally remembering who they are, releasing that band of forgetfulness and releasing the planet from this linear, false linear time construct, so Gaia can reascend again. Again, we've done it before. We're doing it again this time around. And so part two, in terms of the multidimensional aspect of who we are, we all are multidimensional beings. You, me, the animal, your dogs, your cats, your birds, the horses, rabbits in the ground, squirrel, we all are multidimensional beings. There's no exception. And I simply understand who I am because this is part of my mission, is part of helping others by ripple effect and by inspiration and guidance to help you reawaken into your truth and who you are, accessing your highest potential. So it's about, think of it this way, we need to turn as many light on the planet. So Gaia is vibrating all the light that we bring. And I cannot do it by myself. We need each other. And this is why I, at some point, became public with who I am, where before I was working a lot behind the scene. You would not know. I was a unknown, so to speak, to the public eyes, but I was very, very active behind the scene. And then I became more public about 12 years ago. But really, the multi-aspect of your question is many emissary, many representatives from multitude groups on the planet. They came, have this human form, or born. Oftentimes they have unique stories. They feel the calling when they were a child. They are connections with their star families. There's a deep knowingness in their core and their heart. Maybe the mother was a little bit modified when the baby, and the fetus was just to help that soul to better adapt. Oh, my camera is frozen, but I'm still here. I'm going to refresh my camera really quickly. My
Okay,
apology.
and we can hear you
Let's
too.
see.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm still going to continue to talk with my camera. See, that's why I mentioned about technology.
Yeah.
Classic points. It happens a lot. So, but I'm here with you fully. I can still answer a question. I hope that brings directions to your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
A very beautiful question, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Vivian.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Kara.
All right, we have Rebecca.
Oh my gosh. I have no camera and Vivian's on camera, and aren't we having fun?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I don't have a specific question. I'm gonna try not to ramble, and I'll try to be brief. But Vivian, I've wanted to talk to you for so long, and I really wanted to be at that Lemurian retreat that you just came from, but I wasn't able to get there. And I'm going to throw in that I was rescued by dolphins a number of years ago, 5 of them at sea. And part of many experiences I had that day with them was of being an electrical being. And so I really related to what you were talking about how heavy this body is. And in those moments of that electrical being experience, just the word that came to me was relief. It was just pure relief to be so light. Anyway, I don't have anything more to say about that, except that when I came into this life, I remember sitting in a circle with a group of soul friends, I guess. I'm guessing. I just remember a circle of beings with me. And they said, you don't have to do this. And I think they said it twice. So, but I don't remember what I came in to do, but I'm deeply devoted to service and being here. And yet what I've experienced so far has prevented me from doing. I think I'm through with that part, but I don't know how to extract myself from. The other day, I was so frustrated that I couldn't get to that retreat, and the word destitute came to me, and I had to look it up in the dictionary. And the definition was something about being without something and without resources, without possessions and without resources. Well, I'm in a tiny apartment, and I do have some possessions, many of which have been stolen at this point. but I am without resources. My income, I'm retired and my income is minimal. And I don't have the resources to go anywhere. I participate in the Stargate Circle. I follow you whenever I can. I paid for one of your group healings, but wasn't able to get on it online. I was prevented online. That's enough of my story. Oh, I know what I really wanted to ask you about is recently, you're just in my heart so much. I felt like your father was with me. Is that possible?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Rebecca. Many people have felt the presence of my Arcturian father as well as my presence, even my Arcturian self. So, Rebecca, I want to thank you first for being generous with us. You're being generous and you're sharing, allowing to your heart be open, which is also very generous of you. And one of the things that we would like to share with you is when you were talking about the definition of this word that you look up in the dictionary, right away I saw that I had a vision in my holographic field. I have a vision of one of your ancestors, some kind of civil war. I saw a uniform and more of a rudimentary gun on a battlefield. And I felt the energy of this man feeling destituted, feeling without resource, without roots, without his companion, feeling completely defeated. So one thing I want to invite you to do is, with my Arcturian father and our delegation of light, ask your higher self to connect to your heart and to feel how much a lot of resources and how much abundant and vibrant the universe truly is, and helping ask you, your higher self, that you are now ready to release any karmic energies or unresolved energies, emotions, or anything that relate to your ancestral lineage, and to really allowing to free that lineage both on mother and father side, past, present, and future. And you no longer need to hold that history in your field. I think it's going to really make a difference in terms of reopening internally your own natural energy. And remember, Rebecca, every single day, how much you are connected to all there is, and feel the abundance, vibrancy of the presence of the universe in your life and all dimensions of your life, including your home, in your mind, your heart, your body, financially, health, relationship, opportunities, spiritual awakening, everything. And that's what came to me when you were sharing, Rebecca.
God bless you. Thank you, sweetheart.
You're
Thank
most welcome.
you. Thank you, both of you. Rebecca, that was beautiful. Oh, wow. Okay. Kelly.
Ah, Kelly.
All right.
Can you
Hello.
hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to ask this question for some time now. Vivian, can you help explain the different strands of DNA that we have from the different star beings? And is our purpose to integrate the different, I guess, aspects that we can get from each of the star family that contributed to our DNA so that we can then birth like a new race?
Well, yes and no, Kelly. And I love your question. It's wonderful to see you. Thank you for taking the time today. Kelly is part of my online Universal Arcturian community, and I'm very happy to see you today, Kelly. So if
I
you
love
look,
that you coordinated your backgrounds too. That was really thoughtful.
yes, see, We got the memo. It's about earthly energy, woman energy. Well, Kelly, to answer to answer properly this question about the different strand of DNA and the galactic, I would say, composition of it, it will take a weekend workshop. But in a nutshell, we perceive human beings as galactic royalties. And we talked about this before because, yes, the human DNA strand is made of a multitude of intergalactic codes, imprints, memories. So many enlightened groups have contributed to create the DNA of the human template. And so part of your role is not just all of it, but part of your roles or part of the soul purposes as part of the journey is to remembering the connection to your DNA as galactic royalties, to really already acknowledge, to feel, accept that your DNA reflects your true nature as cosmic being. And the human race was never designed to feel isolated or separate from, even from source or from other groups. And the Earth, Gaia, was never an isolated planet floating around in a big, big multiverse without any other life around it. So that's a big reversal of a thought system throughout history and generations of programming. So right there, if you accept that in my DNA, I carry the memory, the encoding, the virtues, the history of a multitude of other interstellar groups, it already changed the dynamic of how you can perceive your own self. And that is already a huge step. Eventually, part of the more conscious awakening is to be able to, for you, all of you on the planet, to tune into your DNA and to see what code or what aspect do you want to keep and what genetic markers do you want to turn off. Because not only you have all the gift and the knowledge of all these intergalactic groups, but you also carry their history. So there may be some aspect of it that no longer serve where you are in your personal evolution and as a species, but it's all the beauty of your awakening. So when we talk about conscious awakening, please understand this is far beyond spiritual concept. Those are really keys that turns like master keys that turn on the next level of your own evolution. So this is more than just mainstream spirituality concept. They are truly guidelines in terms of where we are. And look how far already the human race has gone. Look at the awakening on the planet. We couldn't have this kind of conversation even 6 years ago. I remember when I first came on publicly 12 years ago, it was very different. People were more fascinated with the hybrid part of my story. And I'm like, I'm not a hybrid. This is my body. Talk to the being who's in front of you instead. And that has shifted tremendously. So give yourself recognition every day. Recognize that you're evolving more than what the media and social media and TV screens want you to believe. And just be very much in alignment with your intuition, follow your heart. And it's really about living impeccably, like the shaman from Peru would talk about. We're all coming back that way. So your DNA is the next natural evolutionary step. And recognize that, yes, you're part of a very huge galactic community. Look at Star Trek. Who likes Star Trek? I mean, I will raise my hands and my feet to that. Because Star Trek really speaks of that federation of alliance or planetary system, and the Klingon with the Vulcan, the Romulan and the Antares and all of these species. Well, we look at that concept that has been mesmerizing people for generations. And we said, remember, it is part of your DNA. It's right there. So this is why I would like to answer your wonderful question this way, Kelly. And remember that this is another important step on your journey.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Of course. Thank you.
You're welcome, dear. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Kelly. Do you have time for one more question?
Yes, I can. I knew that Elmira was going to ask a question. I felt it.
Oh, beautiful. Love that.
Yeah.
Hi, Elmira.
Hello, everyone. Hello. So yeah, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here again. And I'm so happy to be with you, Cora, and also meeting Vivian. Nice to meet you. Vivian, I would like to ask you a question. I also feel that I'm also an Arcturian, and when I connect to them, I can also feel them, but there is a problem. Whenever I connect to them, after that, when I open my eyes, I feel a lot of dizziness and I feel very heavy. Although I do the grounding exercises, I balance my chakras, and I would like to ask you, is there a specific thing that I have to do, maybe following a specific diet or specific exercises or practices? I would be really thankful.
Yes, of course, Elmira. And thank you for being here. Thank you for reconnecting with us at a level. I'm glad that you're already connecting with our collective through you and as you. So Arcturians, their frequencies are really high. So one thing that even though you ground yourself, which I love, I'm going to invite you to shift the dynamic of how you ground yourself. So maybe consciously or unconsciously, I'm getting is that you're grounding yourself a little too much. What you need is that with Arcturians, you are in the presence of very high dimensional beings. So our radius of light or our frequencies are really elevated. I know because even in this human form, my husband always tells me, sometimes you fry my circuits. And I'm like, well, all I do is just sit there and be who I am. So that energy is very potent. So instead, I would recommend that utilizing your Earth Star chakra, which is right below your root, it's one of the first chakra within the universal chakra system. So utilizing your Earth Star chakra, it helps you to ground in loving presence. It brings more lightness. You can still feel very centered, but you're going to bring more lightness. So they tell me release the energy of wanting to connect, that sometimes it creates barriers or vibrational barriers. And by utilizing the Earth Star chakra, it will connect more to your crystalline core, to the solar plexus, and then the heart, and just feel even to your third eye, opening all these points, and just feel, I remember what it feels like to be an Arcturian. And then just allow your entire body, your energetic field, your solar bodies of light, feel a connection even to the mind, connecting with your heart, and then invite them to connect with you. So what I'm sensing is just there's a vibrational discrepancy. So they're coming into their field and are all their beautiful energy. And even though you're preparing the way you knew how, it's still a little bit too dense. So you have to match, you're the one who needs to elevate your frequency a little bit higher so you can be in the same resonance field with them, with all of us. So just shift that energy. So think about, okay, where am I? I'm going to tune up my vibration. I'm releasing the control of my mind or the big mental willingness to connect. And I'm opening myself like this beautiful lotus flower opening to the grace and the presence of the rays of the light. The sun warms, open up, and invites them. I am ready now to connect more consciously with you. And remember that your request is received at the speed of a thought form. It is that fast. The moment you say, I wish to connect, it's already received. You simply really need to reattune the vibratory state you're in order to be more receptive. This way, it will prevent feeling very heavy or fuzzy, or it feels dense when they come. You're just simply into different vibrational state. That's all. It's just a vibratory attunement. Does that make sense to you?
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Yes. And I like what Mira just shared. It's true for any being, whether you want to connect with, the galactic dolphins, the galactic whales, Syrian being, the Pleiadians, and Andromedan. after time, it will be just a vibrational reattunement. Now, all these beautiful beings vibrate at a different stage, so they're coexisting with you. So you have to find a point of connection, just like you agreed to come on Zoom at 9 a.m. Pacific, so you can be part of this beautiful conversation. Well, the same thing with them or any beautiful, enlightened, positive intergalactic groups. It's a matter of reattuning your frequencies. Nothing to do with the 3D mind. But the mind wants, I want to. Okay, what does your heart tell you? So I'm really grateful, Elmira, that you brought it up, because it will help you and many others as well. So perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you, Elmira. All right. Well, Vivian, this has been amazing. Can you please share things that you've given us little whispers and hints about some things that are coming from you, but how can people find out more about you and connect with your work?
Yes, absolutely. The best way, we're shifting the dynamic. We want to work more on a global level. Over the past 12 years, I've done well over 23,000 private sessions, and my role is shifting as an ambassador. So what we have done and create beautiful online community. So I'm the founder of the Universal Arcturian Community on Kajabi, and everything is on my website. How to join the community, very affordable membership, starting even at $25 a month. You receive a lot of guidance, activations. We have also our Arcturian Holographic group monthly event that you can join. Even if you're not a member, it is open to the public. I also have free content on the website. You can still join us on Kajabi and have an account with us and enjoy the free content. We have monthly series, meditation series. In August, I'm going to start a new meditation series. It will be all about the starseed, and we're going to create that new series coming up. And I'm going to create more workshop. I'm also traveling. I'm going to be on Contact at Sea, beautiful Alaska cruise in September. We're going to be in Sydney, Australia, and Uluru in September, October. And in December, we do also have the Galactic Origin Cruise leaving from Orlando, Florida. We're going to be traveling to the Mayan timelines from Mexico, Belize, Cozumel, all of these beautiful Mayan timelines. We are being called to return to these timelines so we can help to restore the timeline and help to shift into the next cosmic gateway coming up in 2025. And we also have all kinds of opportunities, a multitude of interviews you can watch on my YouTube channel, beautiful meditation you can choose from completely for free. So there's a lot going on. I'm inviting you to look on the website, explore the website. It's quite a journey. My dear friend in the Netherlands designed my website, and he's a master in what he does. You'll feel the energy is quite palpable. But thank you, Kara, for having me today. And thank you, everyone, for taking the time with us. Always a pleasure to be of service.
This has just been such an honor, and I've loved every second. Thank you so much, Vivian. Thank you, everybody, for the amazing questions and just for your beautiful presence. It's really been an honor. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening to this episode of Meditation Conversation. I'd be so grateful if you would share this episode with someone in your life who would appreciate it. Your sharing helps build momentum and make high vibrational content such as this more accessible and easier to find. I'd also be so grateful for you to subscribe to this content. Thank you for your support, and I look forward to the next meditation conversation.